Hey, everyone, it's Sleepy Reader, aka Damien. This is my Sleepy Vlog number 103. I'd like to get back to these Sleepy vlogs more often, where I throw together some random stuff I've been doing or thinking in terms of comics or other pop culture type of issues. So here I'm going to give it a go. One thing I've been postponing on doing is shouting out a few things. And top of my list of wanting to shout out is Dan Elsen. Dan has recently started his channel. I should have shouted it out a few weeks ago when it first started. I was lucky that I had subscribed to him in advance when he had no videos out. He has commented on the past on my videos and on a bunch of other people's videos, such as Comic Crack. So I have enjoyed conversations with him over the years, just through the little comments. And so I was very excited when he started a channel, and his videos are quite entertaining to watch. I mean, just casual ones sitting and talking to the camera. And it turns out his favorite artist is Richard Corbin. His favorite writer is Garth Ennis. I used to jokingly say Garth Penis. Sorry, Dan. And what was I going to say? Oh, his tastes, I think, if I had to describe them, his comic book tastes go towards the kind of slightly gnarly, over-the-top side of things, if that makes sense. I hope that's okay, Dan. And already he has shown a bunch of comics that I'm like, wow, I didn't know about that, or I forgot about that, and I need to get it. And in the case of The House of the Borderland by Richard Corbin and the supposed writers Simon Revelstoke and colorist Lee Lowridge, I had either forgotten about this a long time ago or never quite known that it was published. The House in the Borderland is originally a novel by William Hope Hodgson. And back in the 80s, when I was a struggling wannabe science fiction writer, I would come across people mentioning this book, and I would never, the original novel, and I would never find it in bookstores. Now, being reminded of this, not only did I go on eBay and get a copy of the graphic novel, but now I can go and get the book, because with the internet, you can get everything. We didn't have the internet back in 1980s for some weird reason. So this is got a lot of really cool Richard Corbin art, a really gnarly, weird fiction kind of story. It's a little hard to follow the story. Like sometimes I'd have to backtrack. Corbin or Revelstoke do some subtle scene shifts where we're kind of moving through time. Or the most notable one is here, where the character is looking out a window, and then down below there he is walking fully clothed. I think they also add some sexuality to the original story, and they add a sort of different framing device to the story. So I look forward to reading the original novel and probably rereading this graphic novel several times, because it is kind of complex. My only real complaint about it is the color. Lee Lowridge is a great colorist. There's a number of really good colorists, perhaps on the level of Dave Stewart, and he's one of them. But his style of coloring is not Richard Corbin color. I mean, Richard Corbin is famous for his color, and it's kind of sad that he didn't color this himself. I'm guessing this was, not, I'm assuming the reason why Corbin didn't color it is because for him it was a bit of a work for hire type of job being done for Vertigo. The other weird thing is the writer, Simon Revelstoke. I always thought that, I've seen that name on a few other Corbin stories where Simon Revelstoke helped write. And I wondered at the time, is Simon Revelstoke actually just another version of Corbin? But in the back it says, Simon Revelstoke has written The Black Profound, The Fearsome Moist Imaginings, and the zany Amber Headache series. With Richard Corbin, he's collaborated on The Bodyssey, Den, Dreams and Elements, and short stories for the Vertigo anthologies. A Carnacki Fellow, Revelstoke currently teaches at the Glencarrig School of Nautical Horticulture in the remote Scottish Highlands. So you know right away that's a put on. And if you looked up the names of any of those novels he supposedly wrote, they don't exist. Carnacki is a character that there was a series of stories about someone named Carnacki written by William Hope Hodgson. And the Glencarrig is a imaginary place that that he wrote about. I think it might be a place in this book, or is it in some other? I looked up some stuff about William Hope Hodgson because he's an interesting guy too. Died in World War I. And of course, a school of nautical horticulture in the remote Scottish Highlands makes no sense. But looking into it further, it could be that Simon Revelstoke is this obscure writer who helped rewrite a few Robert E. Howard stories, but really doesn't have much else of a, and I've now forgotten his name. I remember his last name ends with a P. I'll look it up and I'll write it here. But so that's kind of a weird thing. I still wonder I wish there was some more story behind this team up between the fake Simon Revelstoke and Richard Corbin. If anyone knows any more about that, let me know. Then I wanted to give a shout out to the return of a YouTuber who I think started 6 months or a year before I did, way back I started in 2012, maybe he started in 2011 or earlier in 2012, and that is Roger69501. So old schoolers in YouTube, really old schoolers might remember Roger. He lives in Puerto Rico and he loves DC Comics, and he is back making videos. So I will put a link to him down below. And, some people might like to check it out and see what's up with him, or people who remember him might want to go back and check out his videos. I wanted to give a shout out to Aaron from Psychotronic Squirt Gun. He has split his channel into two. So there is Psychotronic Squirt Gun, which is, as far as I understand, going to be focused solely on his music and the stories behind all his songs. I love his music, especially I have a playlist of his music that Psychotronic Squirt Gun is the name of the group, or the persona that he does the music under. And I have a playlist of that I like to listen to on long car rides. And then his comic book channel is now, I think, just called PSG. So I'll put a link to that down below also. So that's where he's going to do all his comic book stuff from now on. And I think that's a smart move. You need to specialize probably if you want to get some views. And I think he would like, people to be aware of his music. So he needs to reach a music crowd and reach a comic book crowd in different places. A big salute to Metarog. A little late, he hit 2,000 subs, and he did a big giveaway with 2 boxes of comics, most of them old school. Although I think the winner could pick, does he want DC or Marvel or what have you. And it may be that one of the prizes wasn't claimed, so there'll be another, possibly another giveaway on his regular live show on Tuesday. It happens Tuesdays at 5:30 Eastern time. And because of that timing, and because I like Roger a lot, I often jump on to his live show that he does, What's in the Boxes, or Comics Boxers. And that's one of my highlights of my week, just jumping on the show, hanging out with Roger and Ray and often Aaron and Rob. Sorry. I keep thinking Cheap Comic Book Collector. That's his name, Cheap Comic Book Collector Rob. And Tat is also often a regular on there, and other people drop in and out, Namen. So it's a very casual hangout, but that's one place where I've been hanging out. So I wanted to mention that. And another place I've been hanging out is on Comics with Bueller for the past, 7 weeks. Actually, I have 6 weeks. He's done 7 weeks of his show, Comics on Coffee. No, Coffee and Comics. But one of the sponsors is Comics on Coffee. And that's the show that Travis, Comics with Bueller, does with Bullseye Bob from Everything Comics. And for most of the shows, they've had me on for a little segment where I talk about comics, current comics that I think are really worth your attention, and it's called Between the Covers. And one episode, Bob was sick, and I got to fill in for him, so I'm there the whole time, sipping coffee and talking about comics with Mr. Bueller. And that show used to be one of the central shows of the comic book community, I'd say, back 4 or 5 years ago. Then Travis Bueller hit the road in his van, or in his bus, really. I always call it a van because he's living the van life. But it's actually one of the short school buses that he turned into a studio apartment. So he has been here for an extended stay because of family issues. So he's been shooting, and we've been joining in on 8 episodes of the classic Coffee and Comics. And this Monday, we'll be premiering the final episode. We're going to film it tomorrow, in which we answer people's questions. And I don't know what else Bueller has up his sleeve for that. But that's been really fun for me, and that's sort of been, I don't know, filling my hanging out and talking about comic book itch between that and Metarog's channel. So that's maybe part of why you haven't seen me so much on my own channel. Although I keep thinking, today I'm going to shoot the Sleepy Vlog, shoot another countdown. I've got a ton of stuff I could do haul. I'm thinking of doing like an endless haul, like video after video of all the crap I've gotten recently. Speaking of crap I've gotten recently, I think it was last weekend, or maybe it was the weekend before, 2 weekends ago, I went to the Portland Zine Symposium. I was going to call it a Zine Fest. Hung out there with Scott Haselwood, who has his channel. I think it's Scott Haselwood, Artist of Comics. No, I forgot. Anyway, I'll link Scott's channel down here, although he's been lazy lately. You got to get back on it, Scott. Although he really should spend his time drawing, which is good. So I met up with Scott and Drew from my drawing class. A great guy I met. I always think it's funny that I met a guy named Drew at my drawing class. And he loves comics too. And so we went to the Zine Fest. We checked out every single table. It was kind of mobbed. There were all kinds of people doing quirky comics and non-comics things. And I picked up a bunch of stuff. And I guess I'll probably go into these a little more in a future haul video. But Planet of Paste. I think there are pasted together images. Amalgam 3. Sea Devil from the Zat by Zeno. Spirit of Sorrow. I guess, anyway. And this is a book of photographs from the Portland area. There's this guy who does old-fashioned silver tint photos. So that's the kind of thing, the people are doing all kinds of things. Let's see, is there anything more here? Someone gave me this free newspaper from Seattle. It's free. He said it was from a while ago. From I think a bunch of these free newspapers still exist in Seattle. So then after that, we realized that this new place called the Northwest MoCA, or Northwest Museum of Cartoon Art, had just opened in its soft opening. So it was free to go for the month of November. So we went in and looked around. I took a little film. There was different sort of mini exhibits of different artists, a section for just the artists at Portland's Helioscope studio. I think just about everything in the room was by Portland artists or the general area, maybe 1 or 2 Seattle artists. And there was a lot of cool stuff. I'd say they still have, it's still kind of, it's a soft opening. They still have the whole show could become more sophisticated over time. And I think they're going to have different shows coming up. They had a special feature room on Joe Sacco, which was interesting and depressing. If you know who Joe Sacco is, it was all about the Gaza Strip. They had T-shirts. I bought a T-shirt, and I haven't worn this one yet. It's kind of cool, and so I'm kind of excited that's here in Portland. On the downside, after November, entrance will be $10, and it's not a full size museum. So yeah, that was really cool. And then the next weekend, I took my daughter to, as just something to do on a rainy weekend. We went to that museum, and so I looked around it again. And then today, I went with Eric from Long Box Review, who has just moved into the area with his wife to be closer to some relatives of theirs. But it was great to hang out with him. And it was interesting to go to this museum 3 times. I think I became a little more critical of it each time. And I kind of wished each piece of artwork said exactly where it was published and that sort of thing, and maybe what materials were used and everything. Instead, each little cluster of each artist was represented by like 3, 4, 5 at most kind of pieces. And it would just have a little bio of the artist, but not say where the individual art pieces were from. One really cool thing, I mean, you could probably do this on your own because people post things online, but they had binders with scripts by well-known writers, all of whom I guess live in the Pacific Northwest, such as Matt Fraction and Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Waid. Mark Waid doesn't live here, I don't think. But anyway, they had a bunch of scripts, and in each binder there's scripts by that writer and a copy of the comic book that was the finished product. So for a while, this most recent time, I sat there and read part of a Ultimate Universe Michael Brian Bendis script and looked page by page at what the artist actually did with the script. And there were a bunch of small changes between what he described and what the artist actually did. And the other time I looked at a script by Matt Fraction, and I want to go, next time I'm back, I want to go back and read that script again, or more of that script. Because like a page into it, I think it was for this Jimmy Olsen script, I'm not sure. A page into it, he went off on a 2-page description of some time when he was backstage at Saturday Night Live. And I need to go back and read it more closely because I didn't get if there any point in that digression to the actual script he was writing, but that was interesting. It almost seemed like a bit of a, flex. Hey, I've been backstage at Saturday Night Live. So anyway, that's a fun place. Like I say, I'm not sure if I will go that often with it being $10, but actually, now I don't have it right by me. but they had a list of special appearances, like Matt Wagner's going to be there with his son. So I'm assuming they'll give a little talk about what they do. So I may be going for different events there where they have focus on individual artists. I think Brian Michael Bendis and Oming were going to be there too. Anyway, so another thing that's sort of on the side of my comic book collecting, you may have gathered here and there that I collect original comic book art at times, and I have kind of narrowed it down to usually just checking out heritage auctions almost every week. And occasionally I'll win a bid on something there. And I get kind of fascinated by the big famous pieces, what they're going for. And because I have purchased enough artwork from them, they send me catalogs all the time. The most recent catalog came yesterday, I think, and it's for just one piece of art. It's for this Frank Frazetta art from Conan the Conqueror. It is, this is the very first Conan novel I ever read. And it's interesting to think, because probably at the end of the day, there's only 2 or 3 people who will be bidding on this up beyond, a few $100,000, because it'll probably go for millions. So I haven't read it yet, but I plan to. So they have a write-up about it. And then they, I wonder there's Kirk Hammett. Did he buy one of them? Or is he selling it? Yeah, from the Kirk Hammett collection. Okay, that's interesting. So, and it says starting bid $10 million. So why would they, and then they review other Frank Frazetta art and what it sold for. So the Egyptian Queen for $5.4 million. And so it's just, I don't know, ridiculous. Conan the Cimmerian for $13.5 million. Kirk is going to get some nice cash out of this. Oh, and there's all the original Lancer covers. Death Dealer number 6 for $1.7 million. Does it say the date when it sold? 1990, so I'm sure that's worth a lot more now. The Dark Kingdom painting, which I think of as the Motley Hatchet painting, for $6 million. Or no, maybe the art piece was created in 1990. I'm sorry. I think it's sold. Wait, I don't know. I'm all confused when they sold. But anyway, this one sold for $6 million. The Molly Hatchet thing. It's really a Carl Edward Wagner novel cover originally. More about his cover art. So all of this, Princess of Mars for $1.4 million. All of this to sell one painting, and to the 2 or 3 people who could actually afford to bid on it. But then I get all kinds of much heftier heritage catalogs. I guess these would probably already have sold, but I might do a flip through of some of these and intersperse it. It kind of makes me literally drool as I flip through these things. And I guess even though I can't afford most of this art, maybe it helps Heritage keep me on the line and keep my enthusiasm for going on and checking out what they're selling. It might be that this one, its final sale might be today or yesterday. So we'll have to see. When last I looked, this was going for $300,000. This Superman Breaking the Trains. It's just mind-boggling. Who is it that's buying this artwork? Just a few rock stars like Kirk Hammett and a few movie people like George Lucas, maybe. But I mean, for just plain rich people, there's probably covers by Gene Colan or something, which will probably, I don't know, I'm just guessing, go for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. I think it was in this one, there's a lot of Jack Kirby art, which really gets me drooling. Here's another one that was, I think it's past now, November 19th, so yesterday. So it'll be interesting. This is one person's art collection, which includes, includes Frazetta and Boris and Roy Kringle, Morato, Kelly Frias, a lot of sort of Frank Frazetta, of course, quite a bit of Frank Frazetta, Virgil Finlay, a lot of stuff that if you're a fan of classic book illustration will be very drool worthy. It looks like he has a lot of pulps for sale too. Anyway, this stuff fascinates me.
At the end of the video, I will post a 7-minute flip through a good portion of these catalogs for anyone who would like to look inside. But now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
And another thing, I spoiled myself a month or two ago. I've been going through a lot of knee problems, and I got knee surgery about a month ago. But before that, there was several months of just being in pain all the time. It took a long time. Maybe I mentioned this on another video. It took a long time to work my way through the medical system to actually get the surgery. And now I feel like I'm about 70% or 80% recovered at this point. I'm still exercising my legs a lot, trying to get the muscles back. But so I spoiled myself and got this 13-inch iPad Air, and I just love reading digital comics on it now. I know not everyone loves digital comics, and they're kind of secondary for me, but they're extra fun on this iPad. It's a little bigger, I think, than a comic book. Let me see. Yeah, so there's a bagged and board comic book next to it. So it's a really nice size for reading digital comics. And so I've been doing a lot of digital reading and letting my all my physical comics kind of pile up. And I just last night read this Thor with him in it with my daughter. And that was because it's kind of a sequel to Fantastic Four. What number of Fantastic Four was it? Like 64, 68? It was Fantastic Four 67, I think it was a sequel to. My daughter and I have been reading a Fantastic Four every night before, after dinner or something. And I think we started with, I won't be able to find it. I think we started around Fantastic Four number 38. No, 34. And we're now up to 68. So we've been reading a lot of Fantastic Four. I started on the issue, because I think of kind of the beginning of where Kirby and Lee's Fantastic Four really levels up rapidly, starting with the issue where they visit a college campus and Dragon Man comes to life. And very shortly thereafter, we get the Frightful Four, then the Inhumans, then Galactus, then Black Panther, then we get the Kree, and then we get him, plus some other fun with, battling the Silver Surfer, and battling Dr. Doom with Silver Surfer's power. And so not only do I have this giant iPad, but then I realized I can send whatever we're looking at on the iPad onto our big screen TV. So my daughter sits around sketching and chatting about Ben Grimm with me while we read this panel by panel or page by page on the giant screen TV. A lot of fun. So I've been spending a lot of time doing that. And then I just wanted to mention Comics Curing Cancer, always an inspiring event. And shoot, where did I put it? I wanted to show you. So I got a huge amount of stuff from Eric and Nick when they did their show. I guess it was for 2 nights fundraising for Comics Curing Cancer, where they had a Wheel of Fortune where everybody who had shown that they donated to Comics Curing Cancer got their name on it. What I didn't know is you got a space for every $25 you gave. I just thought I would get one space. But since I gave quite a bit, I had a lot of spaces on their wheel. And so I ended up winning over and over again. So they've sent me over the past few weeks all these comics and all these. So I will eventually, or I will try to do some kind of haul videos. Another thing I got that I really love is this little sketch card by Roscoe from Geek Out with Roscoe. I love this image. And this I got on Katie's channel, on K-Pop's channel. And they were doing like a late night show, and they showed this card and then didn't put it up for bid right away. And it was already late at night, and I stayed up an hour and a half longer waiting for them to come back to this card. And luckily I won the bid. And I got this. Roscoe sent, John Stout had also won a card by Roscoe. So, and he knew that we hung out together. So he sent them both to John Stout. Now, John Stout thought it was his, but eventually I got it from John. And thank you to John for holding on to that for me. I got another piece of art, and now, oh, there it is right over there. I'm not sure who donated this piece of art to Comics Curing Cancer. It looks like, is it an unused cover or a variant cover that was used? Because there's the space for the logo, right? It's an X-Men cover. You know, my X-Men knowledge is not that great. I'm not sure which team this was, which variation on the X-Men teams, but it's a really cool drawing. The art is by Joey Vasquez, and I don't know if he's the one who contributed it or someone else did. It's actually it's dated 2015. So it may be a piece of art that was purchased and has changed hands a few times, but very cool art. I'll have to look up more about Joey Vasquez. So anyway, that's everything I can think of right now. Maybe as other topics pop into my mind. I was thinking about ranting about AI, but I'll save that for another time. Oh, here's one of the stickers I got with my winnings from Nick. So I hope you guys are all good and having a good time in your comic book life, and we'll talk again soon.